In the vignette, it stated that Mia is forgetful of class content and is often distressed and distracted and looking at a phone during class. It is also made apparent that Mia is a victim of cyberbullying. In 2018, a study by Brandow and Evanson reported that victims of cyberbullying may be caused by a perceived difference of others, such as appearance, social status, or perceived financial status. These differences are evident in the vignette where Mia is described as a physically more mature student than others. She does not have a large social group, and Mia's parents are struggling financially. Furthermore, Brandow and Evanson explained that victims of cyberbullying experience changes in their activities, self-concepts, values, family dynamics, and personalities, and therefore are impacted upon extracurricular activities through withdrawal, avoiding social events, and going from outgoing and social to withdrawn and antisocial or isolated. The vignette also explains Mia's absence from some of her classes. It is possible that Mia has been affected by the cyberbullying, which has resulted in Mia's distressed personality state. In 2007, Harden, Schroth, Pine and Ernst expressed the notion that adolescents who are anxious or depressed may possess less cognitive control than that of a healthy adolescent. They continue by stating that developmental changes in cognitive processes contribute to adolescent risk-taking behaviours and an intensified emotional state. In 2010, Ivana noted that whilst there are differences of perspective between the Piagetian theory and Vygotsky's socio-cultural theory, similarities exist in the form of importance of peer interaction for cognitive development.
During adolescence, students will start to go through physical changes. This physical development refers mainly to students going through puberty. Puberty refers to the process of physical and reproductive maturation of the bodies. Common characteristics seen during puberty is hair growth and an increase in production of sweat glands. It is seen that Mia is going through early maturation and has developed more physically than her peers. This can include a growth spurt and development of breasts. It is seen that she also excels at sports. This can be due to the physical strength she is developing during puberty, and her motor skills and coordination have been increasing significantly. As Mia's physical development is more advanced than her peers, this may be some of the cause to why Mia is being cyberbullied online by her peers, as she is seen as excelling physically.
As a party, Kennedy and Payton state that adolescence is a crucial time in your life where health and well-being and social development have lasting impacts on individuals' lives. In the vignette, we see that Mia is currently being faced with many difficult situations that may have a lasting effect on her life. Due to Mia's early development, Greg and Shale state that she would begin to isolate and question herself, asking questions such as, "Am I normal?" This self-doubt and the repercussions of self-isolation it can cause immediately provides Mia with possible social health issues. There are immediate social health problems Mia is presented with, as the ACU report states. Social well-being is an integral part of academic success. The bullying Mia is receiving is responsible for her disconnection from class and explains her struggling to keep up. Similarly, Barbalet and Maloney state that there is an abundance of evidence that social relations to emotional development in early life and effects of health and well-being of those people throughout the rest of their life. Due to this, Mia's social development at this point in her life is crucial, and she needs to gain the framework of skills needed to carry out relationships throughout later life.
In this scenario, it is evident that Mia is experiencing some brain development issues, and unfortunately, this is not uncommon for adolescents. And that's because it is at this time that her young teenage brain is experiencing significant growth. More specifically, this is due to the fact that the prefrontal cortex is still developing. Now that's the front part of the brain there that I've just circled in red. Now this part of the brain is responsible for major decision making and problem solving. Now this does not fully develop until young adults reach their mid-20s. Therefore, teenagers are having to rely on the part of the brain called the amygdala, which I've just circled there in green. Now this part of the brain is associated with emotions, impulses, aggression, and instinctive behavior. Now this process is believed by many scholars and scientists, such as Dahl in 2004, to be one of the main reasons behind learning difficulties seen in adolescents. Further evidence by Dahl suggests that students like Mia who may be experiencing puberty at an earlier stage may even find it more difficult to learn new things, as the brain is having to make these changes at a younger age. And this very well might be the reason behind why she's forgetting things in her maths and science class, which is pretty uncommon for her. Additionally, Casey et al. States that teenagers have increased synapses in their brain due to the fact that they are wired to learn and learn quickly. And their brain cells can be molded by their environment. This process is called synaptic plasticity, and it can have positive and negative effects. In Mia's case, it seems as though she is being molded by an environment that she is not comfortable in, and this is making her encapsulate negative information due to the cyberbullying and a lack of friends, and therefore having an impact on her normal thinking process.
Hi everyone, welcome. I've gathered you all here today to talk about some issues. Now Mia, your friend has told me that you're receiving some harassment online. Is this true?
Yeah, it is. People have been saying some mean things about me. Here's some proof about what they're saying. Some of it's true. I mean, what year 8 girl has a moustache?
Okay, I can clearly see that you, Mr. McGee, are the one harassing Mia online. This is a serious form of bullying and harassment and won't be tolerated in the school. The principal and I have informed your parents and there will be consequences. For now, an apology from Mia would be highly appreciated, please.
Me? Totally sorry for whatever I did.
Now, to combat this issue directly within the classroom, as a school, we have decided to ban mobile phone use. Mr. Intervention, could you please explain to the students what this means?
So this means that students will not be able to bring their phones into classrooms. They won't be allowed their phones at school at all. In case of emergency, students will be able to access phone in the office. And any student inquiries, just come and see me at the office.
Also, we have decided to run after school and lunchtime art sessions for any students who would like to participate. Mia, you and your friends are more than welcome to come along and join. The idea is to help enhance the students' art skills within a safe place.
Oh, Miss, that sounds fantastic. Can't wait for that. Unbelievable.
That does actually sound pretty cool.
Yeah, so the phone ban will be implemented immediately, and each home will receive a note just stating our rules and regulations from now on. Classes such as the arts class will be implemented within the next coming weeks. So if any student wants to sign up for one of those, come see the office or speak to your teacher.
All right, guys, so how are we all going today? How's our art going?
Really good. Mr. McGee's artwork and mine has come together beautifully.
Good, that's really good to hear.
Mia's been doing really well. She's a pretty cool person when you get to know her.
I'm so glad this has worked out very well.
Drennan, Brown and Sullivan Morton 2011 noted that mobile phone use among adolescents have been found to be a symbol of membership and inclusion that provides opportunities for students to connect with friends, as well as a means of establishing identity and difference with social networks. They continue to claim that adolescence is a time where teenagers develop autonomy and create their identification, largely through the use of the important role peers play on emotional development. Drennan, Brown and Sullivan Mort did detail that taking into consideration the role of the mobile phones play in the social lives of young people, that it is logical to think that cyberbullying and harassment can deeply traumatise victims and cause psychological harm. For these reasons, it would be decisive to implement a ban on mobile phone in classrooms. However, the argument can be posed that these adolescent developments are crucial, and adolescents would therefore benefit from mobile phone use. You have to note that this ban relates only to mobile phones, as in 2017, Hunter suggested that there remains a place for technology in classrooms such as Chromebooks and laptops under teacher-controlled conditions to enhance student learning.
Due to Mia's expressed desire to continue studying visual arts after her HSC, we have opted to offer additional visual arts classes as a school club. This intervention strategy is supported by ASPLA 2009, who states that research shows that there can be benefits both academically and socially in additional schooling programs. Studies show that additional school programs increase rates of attendance and see more improvement in its participants. After-school programs also help provide students with the opportunity to engage in constructive learning and development opportunities after school. However, we believe that the program can run either after school or during lunchtimes on certain days. There are potential barriers that may impede this program's ability to run in resources. ASPA 2009 states how costs for running additional programs can be expensive. Other resources issues come into play in terms of supervision. Asking teachers to give up their time after school is difficult, and therefore activities at lunchtime is more likely to happen. To assist reduce costs of the program, Students can be encouraged to bring equipment from home when needed. However, alternate forms of art, such as natural art, can also be used. Mia's connection to this subject and its content will prove beneficial for her learning, with Briggs' 2005 study finding that connection to content being taught increases students' participation and results. This offers Mia a platform to assist her in achieving higher grades again.
Additionally, this program offers Mia with an opportunity to improve her social health. Mia's encounters of bullying has caused insecurities, as Stanhope 2001 states that adolescence is a time where teens develop templates for what adult relationships look like. However, it is also a time of high emotions which can override the cognitive process, and it is due to this that Mia needs a supportive group of people around her to help her overcome this challenge. The visual arts program will provide people who have like-minded interests as Mia. They can bond over common enjoyments of the arts. This notion is further backed by Darlach, Weisenberg and Patchman's findings that showed these programs provide improvements in students' personal and social skills. The benefits of this program has to offer all students, not just Mia, further shows the need for the program. As in Mia's case, Keppens and Spright's 2017 findings shows that Mia's struggling social situation, along with her disengagement from work, and key attributing factors that could lead to truancy. It is due to all these reasons that we strongly advise the use of the additional arts classes, as it clearly provides many developmental improvements, including mentally, cognitively, and socially, that will not only help Mia in the present, but will aid her future development.
I'm going to talk about the use of ICT in the educational environment for my reflection. ICT is a general capability of the Australian Learning Curriculum, and can be integrated into the curricula so students can then access, create and communicate ideas and information as well as solve problems and work collaboratively with others both in school and out of school. In 2017, Rudolph stated that the cognitive theory of multimedia learning highlights how various mediums of multimedia technology can be effective for learning purposes. It basically suggests that students can store information more effectively when using video stimulus and icons that highlight key concepts. There is a but. The brain can only process a certain amount of information. If there is too much unnecessary information, this can distract students from the key concepts being highlighted. Some of the benefits of the ICT include the opportunity for students to communicate to others even when separated. I mean, look at the times we're in at the moment. Students can also learn about the use of ICT in a controlled educational environment. And then Zhang et al. In 2012 claimed that playing action video games can play a positive role in terms of learning capacity, with a few ifs and buts in there. Bergdahl in 2020 outlined some of the limitations that might be involved, such as the mixed effects of motivation and engagement in students, where high and low level performing students vary with their level of engagement with the technology and the increased or perceived risk of cyberbullying that goes along with it. It can be used in the PDHPE KLA in various ways. One situation is where the teacher might use multiple stations of activities, and an iPad can be used for the students to watch the demonstration rather than the teacher using too much time to explain the task. Franklin and Smith explained in 2015 that video recording and apps can also be used to provide feedback for students' performance, and then they can manipulate their performance accordingly. Thank you.
During this unit, we learn a lot about adolescents, as they are the future students that we will teach. This unit is highly beneficial for pre-service teachers, as it allows us to understand adolescents from another view through theories, researches, and practices. As future teachers, we need to ensure that we are teaching and looking out for our students in all areas of wellness and ensuring their safety at all times. One theory taught that stood out was cognitive load theory. This is seen as the individual's way and how they process information. It aims to make teachers optimize students' working memories in order to maximize their learning and ensure that we aren't overloading the students with too much new information that's difficult. As teachers, we need to ensure that we are planning our lessons to fit our students and their existing knowledge and skill, and gradually increase the information load as the students begin to understand the new content in a safe way. For example, within physical education, when teaching students a new sport, such as softball, it's important to break down the skills that involve softball, so throwing, catching, hitting, fielding, everything. We teach them in bit by bit, and then we teach it all together. Teaching the skills all together ensures that the students don't overload with information and that they understand all the concepts needed to teach it, and they've been taught in a safe and productive way. This theory is highly useful as a future PE teacher, as I will make sure to effectively teach my students in ways they understand, that are not overloading information and are within safe practices. As Piaget's schemes point out, accommodation entails changing the scheme to adapt to new information, and as a future teacher, we need to ensure that we are accommodating for all students to improve their cognitive development. Now, this goes along for all key learning areas. When working with your co-workers, you need to ensure that we are all accommodating for students to ensure that their well-being and safety is put first, and that they are receiving the best quality teaching available.
As a future PHPE teacher, the importance of health and wellbeing has always been really key to my learning. The different dimensions of health and the way they interact, always central. However, through this adolescence development and teaching unit, I've found my knowledge now poses a much deeper meaning. Due to the nature that these relations have is explained in much more detail. And in particular, my eyes have really been open to how the relations that adolescent students have, not only with each other but with their teachers, causes a real lasting effect on students' life and their later well-being as well. The ways in which that these aspects of adolescents' health and development are closely linked is highlighted by the Department of Health, who in their 2004 document state that adolescence is a time when teens develop templates for what adult relationships should look like. However, it is also a time of high emotions, and this can override the cognitive process. This is why it is crucial to implement strategies that allow students to develop in a much safer and nurturing environment, not only for their current health, but for their future well-being. This unit has taught me that the strategies in which we implement and how we decide to teach has a much larger effect on students, rather than just their ability to maintain and retain the information. One strategy that this can be achieved through is the jigsaw method, which we looked at this semester. And that provides students with the opportunity to thrive in a collaborative manner, and it sees students develop in lots of different areas of their health, cognitive, brain development, and as well as their social development, doing it collaboratively. In PE, I can achieve this in lots of different ways, such as when studying bodily functions and body systems. I can split kids up into groups, get them to find out, the different functions, what's made up of each system, the waste production, the options are endless for this strategy. So the content that this unit has provided me with will really equip me to understand my students better and understand what strategies I can use to assist their development.
During this unit, I've discovered that as a PDHBE teacher, it is very important for me to understand the biological changes and social factors that influence our adolescents, as this is arguably the most important time in their lives, as the decisions they make at this time may have everlasting effects. Due to the practical side of PDHBE, it is not uncommon for students to feel physically or socially alienated by their peers due to biological factors such as pubertal timing. Now, in 2017, Simmons referred to pubertal timing as an individual's level of development relative to a defined group. Further evidence from Blythe, Simmons, and Zakin suggests that early pubertal timing is associated with negative learning consequences for both genders. However, this is seen to be more detrimental for adolescent girls, and the effects are even heightened by the perceived idea that PDHBE is a masculine subject. Now, as Jay Guild and BJ Casey state in week 1, adolescents can be very adaptive learners, so it's very important for me to create a teaching philosophy that is centered around the health and well-being of my students. This unit has taught me that the key to a positive learning environment is collaborative learning. In many of our tutorials this semester, we conducted tasks which involved effective communication, group discussions, and brainstorming, where we found out and learnt a lot about each other as individuals, which made for a more comfortable environment. Lawrence Brown states that having an inclusive learning approach is key to building student motivation and classroom rapport, and this is particularly important in a practical environment where students don't always feel comfortable. Fisher, Roach, and Frey add that such methods can help students understand that physical change is a normal phase that everyone must experience. Now, the beauty of an inclusive learning environment is that teachers, parents, and students are in constant communication. This creates an environment where students are given the opportunity to have a freedom of voice in the classroom, making it easier for students to talk about their feelings or any issues they may have, as they can now rely on their strongly built relationships. An example of how I would include an inclusive approach in my PDHBE practical lesson would be if I had a young female student who didn't necessarily want to participate in any physical activities. I would have her help me coach the lesson or either run some activities so she can still contribute to team building activities.